In this video, we are going to learn how to create threads in Java. So before we learn the creation of threads, let's define what a thread is. What is a thread? A thread is a single sequential flow of control within a program. A thread in Java is the direction or path that is taken while a program is being executed. All the programs have at least one thread known as the main thread. And this main thread is provided by the JVM, that is the Java virtual machine, at the starting of the program's execution. Now let's see how to create a thread. A thread can be created in two ways. Number one, by extending the thread class. Number two, by implementing the runnable interface. So threads can be created in two ways, namely either by extending thread class or by implementing the runnable interface. Let's see how to create a thread by extending the thread class. Thread class provide constructors and methods to create and perform operations on a thread. The thread class extends object class and implements runnable interface. Now let's look at the commonly used constructors of the thread class. There are four commonly used constructors. Look at them. The first constructor is just writing it as thread with no arguments. Then another constructor is writing it with one argument, and that argument is the name. Probably this name will be the name of the thread. The third constructor is an argument of type runnable. And the fourth constructor has the argument of type runnable as well as a string. So these are the four different constructors that are commonly used for the thread class. Now look at the commonly used methods of thread class. The first one is run. Run method will actually depict the action that the thread has to perform. So whatever the user wants the thread to do, that code will go into the run method. Next one is the start method. Start method is used for starting the execution of a thread. To start the thread, you have to invoke the start method. Next one is the sleep method. Sleep method will temporarily put the thread to sleep for the specified amount of time. Join method will wait for a thread to die. Get priority method will get the priority of the running thread. Set priority will give priority for the current thread. Get name will give the name of the current thread. Set name will set the name of the thread. Current thread. This will give you the details of the currently executing thread. The next method, get ID. ID will fetch the ID of the thread. Get state. Get state will give the current state of the thread. This is alive method will check whether the given thread is alive. Yield method will give in and it will pause and allow the other threads to execute. Suspend will cause the current thread to be suspended. Resume will cause the suspended thread to resume. Stop will stop the thread. This is daemon method will check whether the thread is a daemon. Set daemon will make the thread as a daemon thread. Interrupt will interrupt the thread. Is interrupted will check whether the thread is interrupted. Interrupted will check if the current thread is interrupted. Now let's look at a simple example. Now here we have a class called as multi. This extends the thread class. So now I'm going to show how to create a thread by extending the thread class. So I create a class, I say extend thread. Then whatever action I want my thread to perform, that action I give within the run method. So I just want to say, I just want to print thread is running. So that code I have given within the run method. In the main method, I will create an object of multi, and then I will invoke the start method, because when I invoke the start method, the thread will automatically start. That means the run method will automatically execute when we invoke the start method. So the output will be thread is running. Hope you understand how to create a thread by extending the thread class. Now let's move on to creating a thread by implementing the runnable interface. Now when we are going to implement using the runnable interface should be implemented by any class whose instances are intended to be executed by a thread. The runnable interface have only one method named run. This run method is used to perform the action for the thread as informed earlier. Now let's see how a thread has to be started. As already mentioned, to start a thread you have to invoke the start method. Okay, and the start method will perform the following task. A new thread will start. The thread will automatically move from the new state into the runnable state, and when the thread gets a chance to execute, then automatically the run method will be invoked and the action given within the run method will be executed. Now coming to an example where we create a thread by implementing the runnable interface. So since you're going to implement the runnable interface, we use the keyword implements. Now, whatever action I want my run method to perform, that I give it here. Now what do we do in the main method? I create an object of the class, and then I am creating the thread. And then when I start the thread, this automatically will invoke the run method and I will get the desired output. Hope you are able to understand how to create a thread by extending a thread class as well as by implementing a runnable interface. Thank you.